factory. You know,
Right.
maybe they go to the library instead. But people have been so enthusiastic, and they come through and, you know, say things like, you know, I played pinochle too as a kid, you know, or I loved your stories about going to South Asia because that's where I'm from. I mean, it's been a great experience.
Well, how about, like, because whenever any political person, and especially you show up, there's always the crazy people. I mean, there must be that one sort of guy who waits in line because he wants to say something nasty when he gets up. He's actually bought a book so he can give his, I mean, has that happened? Do you fear that?
That hasn't happened yet.
Oh, okay.
That hasn't happened yet. But what has happened is that they can't bring themselves to buy the book, so they stand across the street yelling at me.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all part of the First Amendment and everything. But they don't actually buy the book and come through to yell at me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they're not that committed.
Not that committed. No, I think they're sort of lukewarm about it after all.
And for most of them, it would probably be the first book they ever bought.
Or read, yeah.
That's right, that's right. And you look great. Now, what did I read? I read that you and your husband were on some diet. Which one was it?
Oh, I've been on all of them.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I go on, you know, a diet a week just about.
I'm on this pizza donut thing.
Does it work?
It's not as effective as I would have liked.
But it's a lot of fun.
Now, do you and your husband, do you work together on this diet thing? I mean...
Yeah, but, you know, I don't know about the women in the audience. Certainly women of a certain age, we won't talk about now. But it gets so hard to lose weight. So my husband and I go on this diet at the same time. He just loses weight.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's sort of depressing a little bit. So now I'm going to try a different diet. Pizza and donuts sounds good.
Yeah, that's good. Which is harder, writing a book or losing weight?
Oh, losing weight.
Is it really? Because you have to go to all these political things, and they bring you the dinner.
Well, it's really impolite not to eat what people serve you. And so, you know, you got to do your best to...
And they always have dessert. Like, I never eat dessert at home. But when you go to a fundraiser, they give you that thing, and it's got the squiggle on it with some kind of...
Well, also, you know, you're sitting up there for hour after hour, and, you know, the dessert's sitting in front of you, and you kind of say to yourself, well, you know, it's a way to pass time, and, you know, you eat the squiggle, and you take a little bit more of it. But, you know, life is too short to worry about that.
You know what's bad is when you reach over to other people's dessert. And then
I heard that about you.
You're gonna, I tend to do that. Now, and people talk a lot about your hair. I've picked some hairstyles.
Oh, no, you're kidding.
Well, these are some...
People do?
Well, these are some that have, over the years... I'm curious, like, this first one now, what period is that? That's sort of my period. When I was in college,
that's headband time. Yeah, headbands are great.
Yeah.
I wish they'd come back.
Yeah?
I mean, yeah, they solve a lot of problems. I'm all for headbands.
Which one is that?
Oh, yeah, I don't know where that was. You know, an archaeologist is going to try to figure out what was happening in my life by looking at hairstyles. And
I think that's the Sharon Stone Basic Instinct look.
You think so?
Yeah, that's kind of the hair she had at the time.
Well, that's interesting.
Well, I mean the hairstyle was popular. How about this one here?
Oh, that's
Now I love that.
That's a big hair contest, I think, I was in one time.
If you're ever going to bake cookies in the kitchen, that would be the one.
You think that would be good?
That would be the one.
That's sort of like a Donna Reed baking cookie hairstyle, you know?
This last one I didn't quite understand. This, which one is that? Is that kind of an Osborne kind of thing?
That kind of gives me some ideas.
Yeah.
You know, I've had this hairstyle now for a couple of years. You know, I get bored with my hair. It's one part of your body you can change at will.
Yeah, well, that's true.
You know,
but we'll take a break. Now, when we come back, I'm going to ask you a serious question about infidelity. I want to talk to you about this.
Oh, Jay.
We come back right after this. More Hillary Clinton. Senator! Welcome back. Talking with Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton. Now, I was going to ask you about infidelity. This concerns you. I saw this in the paper. I had to buy it. Let's show people. It says, "My steamy nights with Hillary in alien love nest." Okay, here it is right here. Here it is right here. And I'm going to read some excerpts from this. Now, this is apparently, you knew an alien named Pilad.
Pilad, that's
Pilad.
right. That's right.
Says Hillary is said to have likewise found the spaceman's soaring intelligence and lofty morals a turn-on. What's more, she told pals he displayed love-making techniques thousands of years in advance of any human male. Now, you laugh, but it's in the paper.
Well, you know, I just have to say that this is another example of the press taking one little fact and just blowing it out of proportion.
Really?
Absolutely. You know, Pilad is a really decent, decent alien, yes. And, you know, I had to go to some event in Washington, and, you know, I asked him to accompany me. And look at what happens. He puts aside his busy intergalactic business. He goes to the Kennedy Center with me, and, you know, and now look, he's held up to ridicule. It really is so unfair.
Well, it says here, look at this. It says, this is the first book ever written by a real extraterrestrial. That alone is worth every penny. Beyond that, it's a riveting love story.
Well, you know, I can only try to defend his honor on this show.
Now, do you think this is part of a vast alien conspiracy?
You mean, you know, the right galaxy doesn't know what the far right galaxy is doing? Yeah, I don't know, but...
I mean, what do you do? Do you just laugh? I mean, this is like, it's so silly.
Well, you know, actually, these are kind of entertaining, and this particular story is written quite well, actually. You might want to hire this guy.
I did. You know, I think I have enough people like this on my staff already. Thank you. Well, let me ask you about this right-wing conspiracy thing. Is it still alive, do you think? I mean, is it... I mean, that got so much press. It was one of those catchphrases that people...
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that it's alive.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that anybody after the last couple of years could doubt that. It's not so much a conspiracy. It's sort of way out there in the open now, and people can see all the interconnecting networks of folks who have a different agenda.
Why is it that all the radio seems to be sort of right-wing, and now I keep reading they're trying to put together a liberal radio, and it doesn't seem to catch on? I mean, why that hook? Why is that so popular and powerful?
Well, you know, I think it is in part because the people who are on the radio are there for largely entertainment and commercial reasons, and they say things, whether or not they're true, that have all kinds of, you know, dramatic impact, you know, like hear about Hillary Clinton's affair with Pilad, the alien, you know, and you can say it and you kind of drive that message. I think part of it, too, though, is that you can oversimplify very complicated issues, and that is a problem for people who are trying to really get to the facts about what's going on. So I'm hoping that there will be some more diverse viewpoints, because right now it's way too tilted in my view.
Yeah. And well, they feel that sort of television media would be more left-wing and radio seems to be right-wing. That seems to be...
Yeah, but you know what, Jay, I think that it's... I mean, I think there's a big difference in what, you know, you and I have grown up with a different kind of television news.
Yeah.
You know, now it's really an argument all the time. You know, people yelling at you, yelling at each other, and whatever the information that they're trying to convey kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I mean, the days where you'd get a solid half hour or an hour worth of news on a complicated story, and then you leave it up to the individual to draw their own conclusion. You know, those days are fast disappearing.
Yeah, now you get toothpaste. Can it kill you? Is it in your... You know,
yeah, that's right. And, you know, and you always have to have people on both sides of whatever issue. So if you've got somebody, you know, saying that the earth is round, you've got to get somebody from the Flat Earth Society, you know, whether or not there's any truth to it at all. And that's the way that they present their information.
Well, let me ask you. I'm not going to ask you running for president. You've answered that question ad nauseum. Are you going to run for Senate again in 2006?
Well, you know, I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
I love the honor of representing New York. You know, I was sort of hoping Kevin and the band would have played, you know, the Erie Canal song, because, you know, I'm trying to build up some interest in our upstate New York area attractions, and want everybody to come
Are they still using the Erie Canal? We have air transport now.
No, but you know what? It is now turning into a wonderful place to go on a barge trip. You know, I mean, it's terrific, and there's all kinds of activities alongside. So yeah, I love representing New York.
But see, you have to call it something other than a barge trip. You say, honey, I'm going to take you for the weekend on a barge trip.
No, but that's
being pulled by a mule. That's they've got to.
Yeah, you don't get pulled by a mule anymore. It's all automatic. It's mechanized now.
Oh, it is. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. You missed that, but that did happen in the last 100 years or so.
Now, do you think Giuliani will run against you?
I have no idea. You know, I just think about what I'm doing today.
Right.
And, you know, he and I worked together after 9/11 and really had a very good working relationship. You know, I don't worry about the future. I just try to do the best job I can every day.
What do you make of this goofy California politics? We're like the laughing stock in the nation here with it. Now we have this recall thing going. What do you make? Do you support him? Do you just kind of... It's California's problem?
Well, I mean, obviously it's California's decision, but I oppose the recall because I think, based on everything that I've heard and what my colleagues from California tell me, it would be really bad for the state economically and politically. You know, most states are in some kind of budget problem right now. You know, And
well, you see the reaction it gets. I mean, is this a situation where people are just so mad at how the way it's been handled? This is their only recourse, isn't it? What can you do as a citizen? You're so mad. Your taxes are doubling. Your power bills are 10 times what they were. We didn't do anything. It's not our fault. So they have this tool that they use.
Right. And it's supposed to be used, you know, as I understand it, in, you know, very extreme measures. I mean, the economy across the country is bad. California is not an exception. It's just California is so much bigger than everybody else. You know, gosh, they raised 119 taxes in New York. And part of it was 9/11, and part of it was, you know, the slowdown in the economy, and part of it was bad decisions in Washington, and part of it was here in California, Enron, you know, I think manipulating energy prices, which was a terrible burden for people in California. So there are a lot of different factors that go into it. But what I worry about is how are you ever going to deal with these problems if you divert all this time, attention, and money to doing something like a recall instead of trying to get everybody into a room and say, okay, what are we going to do tomorrow that's going to make it better?
You know, like Willie Brown said, if Davis is out and the new guy, he's going to recall the new guy right away. Which you could do if you get the signatures.
Well, unfortunately, under your law, that seems to be the case. And so, you know, it could be just going from bad to worse. And I know that, you know, a lot of the financial authorities, the bonding agencies and stuff, you know, they take a look at this and they say, wait a minute, who's in charge? What's happening with the 5th largest economy in the world right now?
We need an Erie Canal here. That's what we need.
It would help. It would help.
All right.
Kinds of possibilities.
Real quick, you see anybody you like? It's the Democrat. You see, this is tough, this Democratic nomination thing. I mean,
are you thinking about getting in?
No, I'm not going to get in. This is not me. I don't know. It doesn't pay enough. It's a lousy job. I got a job. I'm all set. But I want to thank you. The book is Living History. Boy, it's a really good read. I sat down and figured, okay, I'll read a few pages, and I read the whole thing.
Thank you.
And thank you for you gave me credit.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to see you.
To meet you, to have you here, I mean.
Thank you.
Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton. Be right back with Jay Moore. Come on and walk out. Thank you.